Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pendant. Bit of a crazy one for you this week. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below, along with all my usual links. We've got Facebook, Instagram and Etsy, where I sell my written tutorials if anyone's interested in having a nosy at those. To make this pendant you'll need 0.8mm wire, which is 20 gauge, and I've cut 3 lengths at 6 inches, which is 15 centimetres. I've got 0.315mm weaving wire, which is 28 gauge. I've wound mine onto a bobbin. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. If you don't have one, don't worry. I just like it when you're working with a longer length, it's easier just to wind it onto the bobbin and then reel that off and have that down by your side. It just saves having all the wire flailing about while you're working. I've got a bead. So this is like you could say it was a drilled cab, or it's like a large bead. So this has got a hole from the top to the bottom. And this is 20mm by 15. You can use a larger one if you like. I wouldn't use a smaller one. You could use a larger bead than that if you want to. And I've got a selection of small beads. I've got some little 2mm beads. I'm not sure what I'm going to be using yet. I'll put that on the screen. So I've got my pliers, my round nose pliers, cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these handy for straightening wires and flattening weaves. And my tools are Tronex. I've put a list of everything in the description below. So take 2 of your 3 wires, position your thumb centrally on the wires. We're going to start weaving just to the left of your thumb there. So take your weaving wire and we'll start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. And then we'll just go 3 wraps around the both wires. So all we're doing is we're tying these 2 wires together. 3 wraps around the bottom wire, 3 wraps around both wires. We'll repeat that. And keep pushing your weave together to keep it nice and tidy. So I've done 5 repeats and my stone is 20mm long. So the weave is going to go from the top to the bottom of the back of the stone. So the weave needs to be the same length as the stone, but as it reaches the end, we're going to part the wires a little. And we're just going to weave, letting those wires be a little bit wider, because we're going to add the 3rd wire in a moment. And we need a gap in the middle because the 3rd wire is going to sit in the middle. So just open the wires, do your weave a little bit looser so that it allows for the wires to stay open. And your weave needs to be the length of your bead. I'm going to do another one. Like that. So take your 3rd wire, pop it through your bead, get it nice and central on the wire. And now you want to take your weave from earlier and lie it along the back of the stone. My stone's kind of flatter on one side than the other, so I've got a definite back. So find the back of your stone, sorry. And then we're going to bend the wires to the front, and they need to go either side of that bead wire. We're going to bend the bead wire as well. I want it to sit centrally with those wires. So now we're going to weave across the 3. So holding all your wires together, bringing my weaving wire down to the bottom here. And I'm going to wrap around the bottom 2 wires. It's going to keep moving about just for a little bit to start with. I'm going to come up between those bottom 2 wires, and I'm going to go around the top 2 wires, bringing the wire back to the bottom. And then do that a few more times, once around the bottom 2, coming up between those 2, and then go over the top. Keep adjusting your wires if you need to. My middle one's moving about all over the place. Around the bottom 2, up between, around the top 2. I've done about 6 repeats of that weave. And we need the weaving wire to finish on the top. So I'm going to do another repeat to get my wire to the top. And this time I'm going to come up between the top 2 wires, and I'm just going to add coils to that top wire. And keep pushing it all together. So holding your bead down at the top here, I just want to secure the top because it keeps moving about. We've got the 2 wires from the back. I'm bringing those over the stone so it's quite tight. And then here I'm going to bend them back up. I'm going to use my pliers. So that all the wires now sit next to each other. I'm going to take the weaving wire from the tail end from the beginning. I'm just going to wrap around the whole thing a few times. So I'm going to recommend you leave a little bit of a longer tail end than I did. And then I'm going to go around a single wire about 3 times just to hold that in place. Again, push it together. We're going to cut off the excess. Your excess should be a lot longer than mine. And we're going to flatten down that little cut end. So going back to the bottom there, we're going to take these 3 wires and we're going to bring them directly up and over to the right. My copper looks quite gold in this light. It is just bare copper, and I always use dead soft. I'm in the UK, so I get my wire from Metal Clays for You. So now take your weaving wire, bring it up between the bottom 2 wires. We're going to wrap once around the top 2, once around the bottom 2 wires. I'm going to take the top wire, take him over there and leave him over there. So just weaving across these bottom 2 wires now. I'm going to go once around the bottom wire, once around both wires, like that. And then we'll continue adding coils to this bottom wire. These 2 wires are going to scoop over this way, And I'm going to add some more coils to this one, this single wire. So please mention me when sharing your finished work made from my tutorials. Please don't show images of the back or in progress, as it gives all my secrets away. Thanks to everybody who already does, I really appreciate you guys. So now take your weaving wire and we'll go around the two, bringing your wire up between, and now we're going to add coils to the top wire, and then just keep adding coils to that top wire. So first we've taken it over this side, then we've brought it back. Now we're going to take this wire down over there, and this one we're going to add some more coils to. And we're going to bring it around also over to this side a little bit. Try not to hide too much of this lovely stone. So what I want to do is pop one of those tiny beads onto each of these wires. So we'll start with the bottom one, pop a little bead on there, and I'm going to cut that wire and curl it. With round nose pliers. If you kind of squidge the end a little bit first and then twist it, kind of get a nice shape in there. It's got a little curl with a bead on. Going to do the same with this one. So I'm going to pop a little bead on that one. I got these little beads from a lady on here who does tutorials. I shall have a look so that I definitely get it right, and I shall put her name on the screen. They are so cute. I always use these little beads, but I always find that the hole in the middle isn't quite big enough. But these are lovely. So I'm going to cut that one about there. Squidge that on the end a little bit. I'm sure squidge is a word. And we're going to twist that. So we twist the end quite tight to start with. And then I just kind of pull it around into place. So we've got two. So this top part really needs to lean that way, like that. Next we're going to take that middle top wire, just trying to find it, the middle top wire, and I'm going to just pull it forward a little bit so I can grip it. I'm going to bend it over to the left at the base, and I'm going to scoop it over to the right. And bring it all the way around to sit this way so it's next to that wire there. And now my weaving wire, I'm going to take about, I'm still talking, I've just moved away from it, so I've got about, let's say, 1 metre. and I'm going to cut that off. I don't know if I needed it to be that long. It's going to be a nightmare now. I'm going to pop that through. So what I'm doing is I'm just tying those two wires together. So I just want to wrap around the two wires. And I'm doing it as awkwardly as possible by the look of it. So I'm going to go around there. I think I'll go a couple of times. And then I'm going to continue with my coils on this single wire. So I've added coils, and I'm going to carefully bring that wire around that loop there. Right, so next we're going to take this wire. This has taken a turn from what it was on my drawing. Let's see how it works out. So we're going to curve this one around, and we're going to bring it inside there. So it curls around lower than that curl. Got lots of curls and swirls in this one. It has twisted a little bit, so I'm just going to bring it around a little bit. But I want it to meet that wire there. Hold on a minute. So I want it to meet here, but I want it to be on the inside like that. That's it. This will make sense in a moment. The last wire that's standing up here, I'm going to bring that right down at the base there, and I'm going to bring it around. So I've brought it, hold on, I'm a bit out of focus. That's it. So I've brought it down, and I'm going to scoop him around. And if you do it really slowly, you can kind of see where it's going. And it's going to come all the way around and back up. Like this. Lots of curly swirlies in this one. And then when it gets to here, it's going to come up to follow the coiled one. So we just want to flatten that a little bit. That's it. And that's going to come around to follow like that. So now we're going to take this weaving wire. It's definitely too long. I'm going to post it through there. So I'm tying this wire to that loop there. And then I'm going to bring it underneath. I'm going to go around these two wires, bringing it up in between the two wires. And then I'm going to post it through there again. I'll keep this wire too long, and then when I cut some off, I can write on the screen the different size that you need instead of it being a metre. So you won't have to deal with all this weaving wire. And once more I will come under the bottom here, around the bottom too, and I think I will wrap around that top wire a few times. So now we take the wire that's got the coils on it, this one, and I'm going to take it around and I'm going to bring it around quite a small loop. And I'm going to bring it over this way. This one seems never ending. And I'm going to bring this wire around to follow it. So now they're both going in the opposite direction. I'm going to weave along those two wires. I want to keep it bare just for a little bit, just so we can see it and we don't lose it. So I'm coming up between the wires and I'm wrapping around that top wire a few times. I'm really letting this one take me. My design when I drew it down was like half the size of this. So we're going to add coils to that top wire. And then I'm going to add it to the weave. So we'll go around the two and bring it up between. So then I'm going around that top wire, around the two, and then bring it up between and go around that top wire. And I'm going to repeat that for a little while. It might be easier to turn it over and weave here. That's much easier. So then you're going around the two and then around that bottom wire. So turn it over and do it that way. So I've done repeats of that weave, and if we turn it back over, that's what we've got so far. Oh yeah, I'm running out of wire length now. I think I could have kept going. So what we're going to do now, we're going to just bring that weave around. So we're making a little veil on the top. So I forgot to mention, as always, that you're going to need a jump ring. So I've just grabbed one. Mine is, they're usually about 8 millimeters. It's about 9 outside measurement. So I use that's 1.2 millimeter wire, that is, which is 1.2 is 16 gauge, and I just wrap them around my bail pliers. If you've got bail pliers like these, you can just wrap the wire around and cut it off, and you end up with different size jump rings. So I'm gonna, because I haven't tied it up yet, I'm just gonna pop my jump ring on. Don't know if I'm making it easier or harder for myself, because we want that jump ring just to be around that top bit. There we go. So now we need to tie this weave down. So make sure you've woven to where it meets here, and we'll tie it on with the weaving wire. Now I'm going to cut a bit out of this, cut about 6 inches off, but I shall add that to the other size on the screen. So we're going to take the wire from the weave And we're going to go around and strap it onto here. So pop your wire through this bit. So if you turn to the back, you can see, sort of push it between those two loops there. I'm just going around that top loop with this bale weave, and what's going to happen is this wire is going to go up here, so I can bend that up for now. So then we'll go around there a few more times, going around that top wire. So I'm tying the weave down in place. Do you get what I mean? I'll go around about 4 or 5 times, I think. And as you're tying this weave down, make sure you go in, make sure you pop your wire between those two loops. So we're just attaching this back weave to that top loop there, and you can't see it from the front, it's all behind that loop. And when you've gone around a few times, we'll just finish with a few wraps around a single wire, any wire. I'm going to go around the top one, cut that, nearly finished now. Didn't intend for this to be this long. And we're just going to do a little curl on this wire and bring it up. So I'm going to chop that off. It'll be really tiny. And then this one, I want this one to be really tiny too. So cut it nice and short, and we'll just finish those off at the back. I'm going to curl this around into, I actually forgot to squidge it, and then I did it by accident, so there you go. Little curl there to hold the finish off that wire. And a little one with this one. Just doing it nice and tight and tiny. I'm going to take my last little bead. Actually, we'll finish this other wire first and then we'll do the bead one. So I'm going for this wire here, which is for this little curl. Holding the curl in place, take that wire around the back. Just bend it straight across the back. And then make sure that curl hasn't twisted. Then this one's the one I'm going to do the bead with. So pop the bead on that one. Having long nails is silly when it comes to beads. My bead on there. And then I'm going to bring this wire down. You can do whatever you want with these wires. I mean, I am really taking it a bit OTT now. It's quite pretty. It totally did not look like that at the beginning in my drawing whatsoever. It stopped here. So I'm just going to finish off, where's it gone? I'm just going to finish off this one here in like a nice little curl. Go in this way. And I'm going to add a little bit of wire onto this and tie it in. So I've got that 6 inches I cut off earlier. I'm going to wrap a few times around that wire. Push it down. And I'm going to tie it in somewhere. I think it'll be alright to go across the lot there. I'm going to post it through around that curl and then wriggle it through, and then I should go around again. Easier way of doing it. You should pop it through here. and then you've got to wriggle it into place. So if you can't get in there, or if you just don't want to, you can always just tie it to this curl here at the bottom and just go around the 2 wires. I'm going to secure these wraps with a few wraps around a single wire. This is going to be a little curl, so I might pop a little bead on before I curl it, and then we just got that 1 wire left to finish off. So we're going to cut that wire, press it round, pop a little bead on it and curl it. Graces up. So much for trying to not cover the stone. Are you okay? What you doing? I need to cut this wire as well. So if you want to, you can take this last wire and cut it off and wrap it around the base there. So you just squeeze it in place there and that will finish it off. I've got that many wires and it's so over the top, I'm going to keep going with this wire. So I'm going to take this wire up and bring it across to the front there like that. And then when you're happy with the shape, I'm going to take that wire through that bail bit at the top. Kind of wishing I hadn't put that loop in now and I could have added it in a bit. It's done nothing but get in the way. So I'm going to pop that wire through there. Just having fun with this one now. Wiggle it through till it's how you want it to be. And then pull it around. And I'm going to take this wire over to the side and add a little tiny bead and curl it. This was going to be so simple and tiny. I think I'll still have to do the simple and tiny version because it was quite cute. So this can be the extended longer version, and I'll have to do the smaller version as well. So I'll just chop that wire off. And I'm going to curl it. And it's got to be quite small now because it's going to get in the way of that bail. Just trying to bend the end in so it doesn't catch on anything. So look at all that swirly goodness. I'll have to oxidise it and come back and show you the finished thing. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like help oxidising yours, I did a video on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put a link in the description below. Really pleased how this one turned out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and tick like if you do like the video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.